This is Bob with From the Police 911, and I'm here. I'm going to talk about probation. We all know about probation. We all know how the court system works. Okay, first thing is that what they like to do in the county of Multnomah and other counties in Oregon is they get you to plead guilty to charges, waiving your rights that you have. You have certain constitutional rights. One is you don't have to say anything incriminating, which you have to waive. You have to waive your Fifth Amendment rights to be searched. Once you're on probation, you're subject to search and seizure. Any law enforcement officer can search your stuff, and you're stuck. If you're on formal probation, you got a probation officer. But here's how Multnomah County likes to do it. Okay, what they'll do is if they get you for a ridiculous charge like interfering with vehicular traffic or disorderly conduct or, some rinky-dink charge that doesn't have any kind of restitution, what they'll do is they'll send you to community court. Now, community court is a joke, all right? Everyone should be laughing, but it's a huge way of removing people's constitutional rights. What they do is they sit there and they say, well, if you do 8 hours of community service or 16 or whatever, right, they'll either lower the charge, where it's a classification A, they'll drop it down to a D or whatever, right? If it's a low misdemeanor, then they'll dismiss it. But what you have to do to get that is you have to agree to plead guilty, and you get informal probation, which everyone likes. Everyone likes informal probation, and you have to do 8 to 16 hours community service. Okay. Now the thing is, if you don't do the community service, then they stick you with a fat fine because the county's getting ripped off out of your slave labor, or in some cases they'll order jail time, in which case you'll go to jail. Okay, now Multnomah County has a deal that you can get sentenced to jail time and do it in the courthouse on weekends, which sounds great to me. The problem is like I said before, you're on probation. Informal or not, they still have a right to search you. If you're not convicted of a felony, you have to waive your Second Amendment rights to have a firearm, because you can't have a firearm or have any kind of weapons and be on probation. Even defensive weapons is a major no-no. And so what happens is they get you going through this community court. They get you to do this community service. You go out, you do the community service, and they either dismiss the charge or they reduce it. And then you're done. Everything's done and over with. If you feel that you've been wrongly arrested and you're thinking about suing, don't. Because once you plead guilty, you're guilty. Okay? And if you plead guilty or you're found guilty, you're not going to get too much in state or federal court. They don't like to give you money. So, what they're trying to do is get away from trials. Now, see, everyone has a right to a jury trial, but 90% of the cases that they have tend to get people to plead guilty, so they don't have this trial. Okay. Now remember, like I said, you have to waive certain rights. Okay. One is you have a right to a jury trial. That's waived. You have a right against self-incrimination. That's waived. You have a right to be able to bear arms if you're not a convicted felon. That's waived. You have a right against search and seizure of your property. That's waived. So you're basically waived of all your rights. You don't have any rights when you're on probation. Okay? And then if you're granted formal probation, then you got a probation officer. And this probation officer will do everything they can to put your ass back in jail because they got such a huge list of people. Okay? And for some people, probation sounds all right. For others, probation is ridiculous. I mean, you're walking down the middle of the street in a protest and they're going to put you on probation for that? You're joking. What that should be is, no, don't do that again. Bye. But that's not what the DA's office does. The Multnomah County DA's office will prosecute you for that. Now, these last bunch of protesters, Portland police arrested so many people that the DA's office decided to not prosecute, but have the city do violations, which now means you don't even have a right to an attorney, and you don't have a right to a jury trial, which is a really sad, sad case. That, I mean, when the court sat there and said that you don't need that violations don't warrant a jury trial, that was really sad. I hate to say that, but you know, some of the justices in our court system, I think, use constitutional toilet paper. That is toilet paper with the Constitution written on it. You know, I'm all for the Bill of Rights, and I'm even for victims' rights. Victims have rights too, but no one has a right to trump anyone in a criminal matter. Okay, I hate to say it, but it's better to let a guilty person loose than lock up an innocent person. Okay, now I've been getting a lot of flack about what happened out there in Wilsonville. Okay, when me and Muhammad was filming the police. If you notice, I really didn't cut. I did a little bit, but I really didn't cuss out those cops. Muhammad did. Muhammad's my little buddy. He's Wilsonville Cop Block, and we work together real good. Unfortunately, he's new at this, so he tends to let his mouth overdo his thing. Okay, anytime I cuss at a cop, it's because the cop deserves it. They did something. Okay, may not have been to me, but they did something to someone. Because I generally don't cuss out cops unless they've did something. All right? And so I wanted to bring up this thing about the probation, and I also wanted to straighten this thing out about Wilsonville. Okay, the two that I put up, the 17-year-old being tased, and where I got the ticket, where the 17-year-old was being tased, I wasn't even there. Muhammad filmed that, gave me the copy, and let me put that on my YouTube channel. So, all you guys sitting there saying, hey, yeah, Uncle Bob's wrong, or Bob's wrong because he cussed out these cops, I wasn't even there. Bob was interfering with the police. Bob wasn't even there. Bob was there at the traffic stop, and Bob did everything legal, and the cop still came across the street and gave Bob a ticket, in which case Bob's going to fight it, and when he beats it in court, he's going to be in that cop's face because the cop apparently doesn't know the law. And so that's what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with a bunch of cops that want to act like cowboy cops up here in Oregon. This ain't the Old West, and things don't naturally have to go their way. And yes, they do appreciate the violation of constitutional rights, and they really appreciate tort claims. So with that, I'm going to sign off.